All right, guys, legal life. I'm back again. I know I was supposed to get into this a while ago, but I'm finally here. We're gonna do the double undercuts on the Glock 48. This is my girl's gun, so start off by marking as far as you want to go forward. That's what I do. So this is where her hand sits. This is about as far forward as I want to come with this double undercut. And I'm gonna work on the undercut, and then we'll start getting into the area right here that I'm gonna be taking down. I got my Dremel. Make sure you wear eye protection when you do this because there's a lot of little particles and shit flying around and you don't want to get it in your eye. So without further ado, we're gonna start this. So periodically, you're gonna want to keep checking. You don't want to keep taking it down and not checking, and that's how you end up getting your trigger guard loose, which I do not recommend. And if you want to, you can mask and tape all this shit up. I'm not doing that because I'm just doing the undercut, so it doesn't really matter. I can take the gun apart and clean it as I need to. But you want to just keep going. Slow increments. You don't want to take off too much at once because you can't put it back on. Alright guys, sorry for the change of scenery. I had to switch it up real quick, but we're gonna get right back to it. Make sure you don't have no rough edges. If you do got some rough edges, you can just as easily go back with 300, 400 grit sandpaper, wet sand it down. That's what I'm gonna do after I finish with this. I'll keep going a little bit more. So you're not going too crazy, just enough. A little bit more will be fine. Start getting into this double undercut. Far forward I want to go is about right here. So we'll start peeling it back. Get something to wipe this real quick. So as you can see, just basically starting it, not too deep. Just remember how far back you want to go and how far forward you want to go, and try not to go past that point. So you start getting a rough form of what you're doing, and you're just gonna keep evening it out and chipping down a little bit more. Evening it out and chipping down a little bit more. So what you're gonna want to do is keep checking the sides to make sure you're not getting it too thin. And if you are in a certain area, you can stop hitting that area and push up to a different one. But you're just looking for it to be thin enough to where you can get your hand in there comfortably, but not thin enough to where it's actually moving. That's gonna be a big problem in this whole situation. There's always a happy sweet spot in there, so don't worry about the gun getting dirty. I'm gonna clean it as soon as I'm done doing all this. But you see any of the gouges or any of the big little cuts and pieces and shit like that, all that can get sanded out, which is gonna take quite a bit of sanding and wet sanding to get this back to where it kind of was. Take down the middle a little bit. There's gonna be a lot of little polymer particles and shit clogging up everything and then everywhere, so keep an eye out for that. So that's about as far as I want to go with that. So now everything else I'm going to do with this is going to be sanding. So I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna sand out all of this. What I like to do is I'll take a pencil and I'll wrap a piece of sandpaper around the pencil or pen, and that allows me to get into them swooping angles. So I'll be able to fix up all this right here. All right, guys, so what I'm doing now is I got some 400 grit sandpaper. And I'm gonna just go over this and smooth out any gouges, anything I really want to take down. I'm gonna take down with this lower grit sandpaper. So if you see any rough edges, anything you want to really smooth down, you're gonna come in here with some I got 400 grit, that's the lowest I got, so that's what I tend to use. So I use my 400 and then I'll bump it up to like a 6. And then depending on what I'm doing, I might come in and wet sand with the 600. This is the really tedious part of this whole thing, is coming in here with your sandpaper and making sure there's not too many blemishes that you can't fix. Just make sure there's no sharp edges. Just make sure you're not creating no sharp edges. And if you do, you file them down and you're pretty good. Now guys, this ain't fit to my hand, so this undercut and shit is all fit to my girl's hand because it's her gun. So that's why it's not as far forward as it would be for me. This is where her hand sits, so I do it according to the person that's doing it, that whoever's gun it is. So I'm gonna mark where your hands sit, and then I'm gonna do it just like I did mine, specifically for your hand. Switch over to my 600. Just do is wrap it around a pencil sometime with a pen, depending on if it'll stay. Today I'm not having no luck with it staying, so we'll see. Keep working at any gouges that you left from your Dremel, any scratches that you really want to get out of there that's left in there. you guys pretty much get the gist of it. From here, it's just gonna be sanding, wet sanding, and getting everything to match depending on what you're going for. The rest of this gun is gonna get stippled and shit, so I'm not really too worried about matching it and blending it right this second, because all of this is gonna get shaven down and stippled and everything. So from here, I mean, let me know what you guys think. You can always go thin, you can always go thicker. It really depends on your hand. It depends on what you want to do. So let me know in the comments, man. Legal Life, I'm out of here.